What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Knicks, and I'm with my co-host here, Dylan. And the Knicks are coming off of what I think was their biggest win of the regular season in terms of postseason impact. Whoever won that game, we talked about this, I believe, in the preview. Whoever won that game was going to have the tiebreaker, and that's huge, especially coming down the stretch. While yes, the Knicks would have still had a game up on Miami, that makes it a lot dicier. Where that game means everything. You can't just tie with Miami; you have to finish ahead of them. But now you've secured the tiebreaker. You've, in my opinion, all but knocked out Miami from being able to get the fifth seed, barring some massive collapse because they're 4 games back and the Knicks have 5 games left to play. And the Knicks' schedule, kind of looking ahead, outside of this Cavs matchup, isn't too difficult. So you feel like you're in a good spot, that you're in the driver's seat, basically, as the season comes to a close. But before we get into everything, before we get into the Randle stuff, before we get into the Miami game and the Cleveland game tonight, Dylan, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. That was a huge win against Miami. You couldn't have really worded that any better. I mean, if we won that game, it was kind of like going into it. If you win, you knew you were going to have a really good chance to make the playoffs, right? And now that we won, you can kind of put Miami into the rearview mirror now, because Miami would essentially need to win out, and we'd have to lose out to somehow lose that spot, which I don't think is very likely for either side. I think our magic number to clinch the playoffs is now sitting at 2, which is brilliant. We're very close to going right back to the playoffs, whether it's as the 5th seed or the 6th seed. Right now, we're sitting comfortably as the 5th seed. So, with these last 5 games, you just want to continue to win these games and continue to have strong performances from your guys. Obviously, it was a bit of a bittersweet win against Miami. Julius Randle got hurt late in the second quarter, stepping on Bam Adebayo's foot, going for a rebound. It's unfortunate. It happens, but thankfully, the prognosis doesn't seem too serious. I know he's going to miss the rest of the season. They said about 2 weeks, but I'm going to still hold out hope that he will be able to come back in time for game 1 of the playoffs, because, I saw a tweet from Ian Begley. He said, 2 weeks from now is April 13th, and the playoffs start 2 days after that. So there's a chance that he could come back for game 1 of the playoffs, and knowing the Knicks, they will try to do everything they can to make sure he is able to play in those playoff games, because we are going to need him for those games for sure. I don't think we could win really a playoff series with Obi Toppin starting at power forward. I'm just going to be honest about that. I'm not trying to hate on it. I just don't think that's really a winning lineup. You know what I mean? But obviously, with the time being, Randle's out, so now we have these final 5 games to focus on. Tonight they play Cleveland. I mean, it's honestly their last tough opponent of the season, because then after they play Cleveland tonight, they have 2 games against the tanking Pacers, and then they have the Pelicans a game, and I think the Wizards one more. That's pretty much how they wrap up the season. They got a relatively smooth, comfortable stretch to close out the year. Even without Randle, these are games that they should still win, to be honest with you. These aren't good teams they're playing against. At this point, I'm just worried about, only thing I'm focused on is just getting that 5th seed. Once they get that 5th seed, then I'm in playoff mode. I'm officially going to be moving into playoff mode and being ready to just focus on the playoffs, once they do that. So looking at that, I'm hoping, Randle can heal quick and be ready for game 1 of the playoffs. That'll be huge. In the meantime, I hope Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, Manuel Quickley, those guys, I hope they continue to step up. Quickley and Grimes had great games against Miami. Quickley had, I think, 24, and Grimes had 23. They've both continued to play really well recent, which I like seeing, and it's a good time for them to be doing that too, as the playoffs are coming very close. So those are some encouraging things right there. Hopefully they can kind of fill in the void a little bit that'll be left with Randle's absence these final 5 games, and help us, kind of just solidify that 5th spot, help us just finish the job and clinch that spot, and then move into the playoffs and hope that you get your guy back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that the Randle injury is definitely a big blow to this team. Also just watching the game, there were a lot of open shots that the Knicks were just passing up. They were being a little passive, right? Randle's a very aggressive scorer. He's someone who, he's not just looking for the best shot. He's looking to take a shot every time. And there are drawbacks to that. Sometimes he can play a little hero ball. But I think that that's a good mesh with the rest of this lineup, because, Josh Hart is going to get the ball, and he's not looking always to try to, immediately going for a quick trigger 3. history, he's trying to look to make the best basketball play. And that's not a knock on his style of play, but that's just the player he is. And having Randle there, who's that aggressive scorer, he will bully through people, he will drive through multiple defenders and do whatever it takes if he thinks he's got a good shot at the basket. And you're gonna miss that, right? It's 5 games, which you hope you can survive it, but Toppin's kind of been in the guy in the rotation, at least, who I think is the least impactful, player on the Knicks, right? I don't say this in a way that is to insult him, but Isaiah Hardenstein stepped up his play. He's become crucial. Mitchell Robinson, of course, plays a huge role in the interior defense. I don't have to mention Randle or Brunson, or I guess I don't even have to mention Quickly at this point. I think he's ascended that. I think Josh Hart and Quentin Grimes have shown to be quality role players. Josh Hart more so than Grimes, not because Grimes is bad or anything, but Hart has kind of become the catalyst for this run. And of course, even guys like Miles McBride, who I would say, at least provides a defensive factor. Toppin's got to either figure out the consistencies with his shot or figure out a way to mesh with that starting lineup, because, at the end of the day, you feel like that's your weakest link right now. And the power forward is their weakest link now, because they don't, now not only do you have to start Toppin, on the bench, you're going to have to run those dreaded Sims and Hardenstein backcourts or front court, and those are never very productive. Those are two guys who can't space the floor. So it's a big blow for the Knicks. I saw some people tweeting about how, look at how the Knicks are playing without Randle. They won. Well, they didn't score a lot, right? So if they played with a much more quality NBA team, and no disrespect to the Miami Heat, actually all the disrespect to the Miami Heat, I don't think they're that quality of a basketball team. If you're playing the Bucks or the Celtics or the 76ers, they're going to take advantage of that. The Knicks lose the game by 10 or 20 if that's a really good championship caliber team. So Randle's crucial what this team does. It's going to be an ISO without him. But, kind of looking a little bit ahead here, how do you think this affects their matchup with the Cavs tonight? Because the Cavs, as we know, they have a strong interior presence. So you're going to feel that with Randle. I'm not feeling too confident about this game. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are one of the best front courts in the NBA. It's just a fact. They're strong. They defend well. I'm not really sure how Obi Toppin is going to fare against that. I'm just going to be honest. It would be tough for Julius Randle in a sense, even anyway, but I would have more confidence in Randle, obviously having a bigger game than Obi Toppin. People are going to look at Toppin's little 5-game stretch run from last year and use that to justify why he should be playing more, but, you can't look at a sample size like that when last year we were out of the playoffs. They were kind of just giving him the ball and doing whatever he wants. We have a playoff spot to clinch. We can't just, throw away games. I mean, if we clinch the 5th seed, you can kind of rest your guys a little bit. But when it comes to the playoffs, you can't really be having much confidence in having him as your starting power forward. I mean, to be honest with you, if Obi Toppin is still the starting power forward come playoff time, we're screwed. I'm just being honest. We are screwed. I don't like that at all, and especially if we do, in fact, play Cleveland in the first round. I don't like that matchup. I do not like that. I don't like the depth of the bench with Toppin in the starting lineup, because you said the Sims Hartenstein front court just can't space. They may be decent defensively, but they can't space at all, which is not good at all. You know what I mean? Toppin's been very inconsistent, of course. And quite frankly, I don't think Toppin will be a New York Knick next season. I don't think he will. I'm kind of surprised he still is. And I'm not hating on him. It's just fact. It's just a fact. He's struggled this year. He's gotten the least minutes on the team. He's been a least impactful player, like you said. He hasn't been a guy that really we thought we were going to get when we drafted him 8th overall. It's unfortunate. It doesn't pan out sometimes, and I hope he does find a better situation next season where he can get playing time, because I feel like, he does deserve that chance. But at the end of the day, I don't know if the fit is here on the New York Knicks, right? But now he has a chance to at least do something to fill in the void a little bit of what Randle is going to leave with him not being on the floor. I don't think Toppin is going to have, Randle-esque games. I don't think he's going to do all that, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that Toppin can at least, be a little impactful on both sides of the floor while Randle's out, because this is his opportunity. This is really his opportunity right now to show the Knicks that he deserves to at least get some burn in the playoffs. Obviously he's going to have to play some minutes in the playoffs since he's the only backup forward, but this is his chance to show he deserves to get good minutes. He obviously won't be playing significant minutes in the playoffs because he's the backup, but this is his chance. Like I said, this is just his chance to kind of show okay, I can be an impactful player. I just need the opportunity. This is his opportunity. If he doesn't take advantage of that opportunity, then, it's going to be tough to play him in the playoffs, really. It's already going to be tough to do that, but right now you might not have a choice depending on, the severity of Randle's injury. Obviously, we'll know more when the season ends and we know more about Randle's injury come playoff time. But, right now we just need to hope that Toppin does play good and kind of fill in that role a little bit. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's going to have like 50-point games or anything like that. I'm not expecting any of that stuff. But I would like to at least have, a guy that can score and a guy that can at least, provide some effort on defense, because I know he's not a great defender. He's been inconsistent with his shot. Lately, he's been doing a little better. I'm not going to, not just acknowledge that. He has been doing a little bit better lately. But I want to see more of that. And right now he has to show more of that because now he's going to be inserted into the starting lineup and we have a playoff spot to clinch. Obviously, thankfully we're sitting pretty comfortably for that playoff spot. It would take something kind of catastrophic to lose it, but you don't want to take your foot off the gas regardless. You don't want to find yourself in a hole where you're possibly fighting for the 6th seed now instead of the 5th, and where you've dug yourself a hole into where like you're going to end up playing someone like Philly in the first round or Boston in the first round because you fell to the 6th seed. You don't want that. You want to be able to stay in that 5th seed, and kind of, just hopefully you get that Cleveland matchup, and hopefully Randle is healthy enough for that matchup because, like I said before, I don't anticipate Toppin doing much against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I just don't. You know what I mean? It'll be tough for him, especially given that he hasn't gotten a lot of playing time. It'll be kind of tough. But anyways, I'm just hoping that they kind of wrap this season up on a strong note. Obviously, it's going to be a little different now with Randle out unexpectedly like this, but we're just going to have to keep moving forward. They can't let up. We still have guys like Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett. Like I said, those guys that need to step up. They can still fill the void. We still won some games without Brunson, thankfully. And obviously, we needed Brunson. He came back, and then right after he comes back, Randle goes down. It's kind of been a bit of a vicious cycle this past month of losing a key piece, which is not a good thing, obviously. But it's just part of the game. Injuries happen. Respect to Randle. He played every single game up to this point, up until just now when he's going to be out for the season. He had a phenomenal season. I can't go understated at all. One of the best seasons really by a Knick almost ever, to be quite honest. And so, it was good for that. Sucks that he ain't going to play the rest of the season, but let's just hope he's ready for game 1 of the playoffs because me personally, I don't want to see Obi Toppin starting game 1. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Look, end of the day, the Knicks need Randle back for the postseason. That's what matters the most. And I feel like this team, their schedule allows them to kind of survive the next couple of games, which is what I'm happy about. I'm not confident about this particular matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers, as you mentioned. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, those two guys. It was already going to be tough with Randle, like you said. But kind of previewing this game a little bit. I think that you're gonna try to utilize take advantage of the fact that the Cavs aren't an elite offense. They don't rank pretty well in terms of offensive points per game or offensive rating. So you're praying that can get you by. That maybe just maybe the Knicks can overpower them. They've done a great job with Grimes and in that and Brunson in that starting lineup. They've done a good job holding down Donovan Mitchell from completely torching them this year. Mitchell's obviously their best player and he's their number one scoring option. You have to worry about guys like Garland, of course. They're not a team that's like super high scoring, but they're probably the best defensive team in the NBA. So, in that vein, you feel like there's going to be another game like Miami. Now, whether you're the team that scores 90 this time and the Cavs are the one that score 100 is a different conversation. But if I had to really kind of predict who would have to be a catalyst for a win, it's got to be Jalen Brunson, especially with Randle out. And at this point, Quickly's has been incredible, and I do not want to take anything away from Manuel Quickly, but it's going to come down to Jalen Brunson, right? Jalen Brunson is this team's best scorer right now, and I'm not trying to limit Quickly's ceiling either. Perhaps that ceiling is there, but I'm just going based on like right now. It's got to be Jalen Brunson, right? If I had to pick like a final score, I would go like 95 to 100 for the Cavs, with the Cavs winning. But if Jalen Brunson has a game, that's all it really takes. If you score like this is like with that Heat game. If you felt like if you scored 120 points, you were going to win that game. Once the Knicks started just looking competent offensively in that second half, they had the game in their bag. So what do you think? Who do you think is the catalyst for tonight if they do win? And then what is your final score prediction?
Right. The catalyst is absolutely Brunson. Like you said, it's 100% Brunson. I mean, he just came back from the injury. He had a bit of a slow return game, but, we still won the game because of guys like Quickly, Grimes, and them. But Brunson needs to kind of, find his rhythm back because the playoffs are coming up soon, and we obviously are going to need him for the playoffs just as much as we need Randle. We're going to need our team fully healthy and at full strength and playing at their best potential in the playoffs, right? So this is Brunson's chance to kind of get his rhythm back. I think this would be the best opportunity for that with Randle out. Now he's going to have to kind of take on that higher role of being, like, once again becoming the guy like he was early in the season, and then Randle started, doing his thing, so then Randle kind of became the guy, but now Brunson's once again the guy, right? So having that in mind, Brunson's going to be the one to have a big game tonight. If he has a big game tonight, like you said, that could be the reason we win the game. It's something simple like that. And we've seen Brunson go on ridiculous stretches this year where he just scores constantly 30 points, 40 points, or constantly getting like 20 plus points, on great efficiency, right? We've seen that out of Brunson this year. And I can expect that again tonight because Cleveland doesn't have a strong defensive backcourt, right? So I'm hoping he could take advantage of that. That's what I'm really hoping for. But bottom line, he needs to have the big night. He's the one who has to kind of fill in the void that with Randle being out. He's the one who has to take on that big role of, all right, I need to help lead my team to a win tonight, right? So for a score prediction, honestly, I do think the Cavs are going to win the game, unfortunately. I think the Cavs will win like 98-93. That's a pessimistic prediction. But if I were to be optimistic, if Brunson has a big night tonight, then maybe we can win like 101-98. I got 2 score predictions right there. One if we lose, one if we win. I got to keep one for what if we win because I want to stay confident about our team. But I honestly, truthfully, think this is a game for the Cavs to take because the Cavs do have their guys. They got their key pieces. We are missing a crucial piece tonight. So we are obviously a bit undermanned, but if Brunson has a big night, I mean, anything could happen. We've seen the Knicks shock people all the time. When we didn't have Brunson against Boston, for example, and quickly proceeded to drop 38 in double overtime and beat them, that's something you didn't expect, right? So who knows? Maybe something unexpected could happen again tonight where Brunson has a fantastic game or even quickly has another fantastic game and we end up beating Cleveland again for the 3rd time this season. That would be amazing. We're already 2-1 against them, so if we beat them here, we would win the season series against Cleveland. Obviously, it sucks we don't have Randle for it, but we still have Brunson. So if Brunson has the big night like I've been mentioning, then we could be in for a good game. We could be in for a win. But if Brunson has a night or like a kind of just decent night, then I don't know. I don't know how it's going to pan out because Cleveland does have their star power. They do have all their guys. It could end up just being too much for the Knicks who don't have a key piece in Julius Randle. You know what I mean? I think right now tonight, Cleveland probably has the better team. They've probably been the better team all year, but they probably definitely have the better team tonight, specifically because we don't have Randle. So it's really a game for Cleveland to lose. If Cleveland loses this game, and the Knicks win, that would kind of be an upset for Cleveland, but it would also kind of solidify, like, definitely getting the 5th seed now at this point. We're already pretty close to that, but if we win tonight, then it's kind of like, all right, there's almost no way we can lose that 5th seed because the magic number would shrink to 1, and if Miami loses, I'm pretty sure we would clinch then at that point. So looking at that, just, if they lose tonight, oh well, it happens. Obviously I don't want them to lose. I never want my team to lose, but I can't sit here and act like I got to expect my team to win when we're missing a key piece. You know what I mean? I just can't. Now, like I said, anything could happen. They could shock me. Who knows? Brunson could have a fantastic night. We're just going to have to wait and see, but hopefully he does have a big night. That's what I'm really hoping for because he's going to be the catalyst tonight without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So, at the end of the day, the way I view it is we're not trying to be pessimistic. We're just being realistic with a Cavs team that is just a really bad matchup for any team that's down anyone in their front court, right? You can't be down your power forward, your number 1 scoring option on most nights and expect to walk into a matchup with the Cavs where they have strong interior defensive presence, they have the guard play to be able to go off and expect to win. Does that mean that this team doesn't have a shot at winning? Absolutely not. That's also not what we're saying. I think our score predictions reflect that. But if it's a 50-50, and you ask just straight up who do you think is going to win, the odds would probably be, the odds are going to be in the Cavs' favor. I'm pretty sure they're favored tonight. We're going in there expecting competition. This is an excuse to get blown out, and this is an excuse in general. If the Knicks lose, it's without Randle, but it's still a loss, right? It still counts all the same. You don't get bonus points for beating a team when they're fully healthy, and you don't lose. You don't lose anything in the standings when you beat a team that's not fully healthy. But end of the day, I'm really excited for that matchup. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can pull off an upset, and hopefully the Knicks are able to just kind of tread water the rest of the way and that should really be able to allow them to wrap up the 5th seed. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's game, and let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you guys think is going to pull out the win tonight? Who do you guys think is an important piece? Are you guys optimistic about the Randle injury? All that stuff. You guys can check out our social media pages on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course this YouTube page. And if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, make sure to give us a 5-star rating. Our Twitter account's above our heads, so you can follow us there, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.